We are stoked to bring you aboard on our 1,600-mile maiden voyage from Muskegon, Michigan, all the way to Seabright, New Jersey. Didn't realize there were even waterways along this route? Well, just keep zooming in. We've been working our butts off to get to this point. I'm Abby, the artist. I never stepped foot onto a sailboat until I met Max, the sailor. We didn't plan for any of this. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, big wave, big wave.
This is the tale of our very first sail. Hop on, you're gonna miss the boat. It's a beautiful, unusually warm day for early May in Michigan. In this first leg of our journey, we're heading to the Bayview Yacht Club. We said farewell to Torreson Marine, hung a right, and pointed the bow due north. The winds were in our favor at about 140-degree apparent wind angle. If you don't know what this means, no worries, we're learning together. The wind angle is reported according to direction and degrees. The southeasterly wind plus our heading will determine what sails to put up and how to adjust them. Trimming the shape of the sail directly correlates to speed. Max always stays true to his racing roots. Despite switching over to the dark side of cruising, he's a sailboat racer at heart.
You guys, we're going to be on starboard.
It's no surprise that we had 4 sails up within an hour of leaving the dock. We covered 185 nautical miles in the first 24 hours sailing this boat as our own. That must be some sort of record. Perfect day for maiden voyage. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I have nothing to hide as a human navigating new territory. You won't see me steering much on our maiden voyage. I was kind of a nervous wreck. Spoiler alert, the haters will be disappointed to learn I do become more confident. Refer back to our first video if you're curious how I got roped into this lifestyle. As an empathic and emotional artist, I'm often overwhelmed. I'm observing everything around me at all times, which now includes strange sounds from our sailboat and learning about all the intricacies our floating home has to offer. As artist Georgia O'Keeffe shared, I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life, and I've never let it keep me from doing a single thing I wanted to do. My apprehension eased during this magical moment of setting our one-of-a-kind spinnaker for the very first time. We are honored to inherit this unique piece of our boat puzzle from Rob, the previous owner. It's always inspiring when you see someone really leaning into that specific thing they're passionate about. If you haven't noticed, Rob is a big tie-dye guy. As you can imagine, the conception of this masterpiece was quite the undertaking. Rob certainly drew a lot of attention with this eccentric sail. We are so thankful to keep our boat's destiny afloat, and to our friends that flew into Michigan solely to assist in this journey. Thank you. I'll never forget the look on Max's face when he turned to me and said,
"This was a good idea."
I knew we were in qualified hands on the water and chose to trust in the process. Seems like an appropriate time to introduce Nick. You know you have a good friend when he doesn't hesitate to trade the sunny Caribbean promptly after Antigua Race Week for cold Michigan to help deliver your new home. Nick has a RYA Yacht Masters under his belt. I still didn't know exactly what to expect transitioning into liveaboard life. I wanted everyone to have a good time. My anxiety grew as I thought about our sprouting responsibilities. Now we're liable for our crew's safety and comfort. Basic functions like eating, sleeping, and hitting the head now turn into quite the production. Our home floats, moves, and it's at the mercy of natural elements. Luckily, Sarah and Jordan were troopers, Max's friends from Roger Williams University. These two lovebirds just got engaged. They do have some sailing experience, but let's be real, nothing could prepare them for Mad Max's agenda. Making lunch! They didn't let their leaky honeymoon hatch put a damper on our voyage. Even a brief bout of seasickness couldn't stop them from lending a helping hand in the galley and on deck. Sometimes you just have to surrender, accept assistance, and let the universe take the wheel. We're grateful Connor hasn't given up on us yet. Connor is accustomed to Max's shenanigans since their elementary school days, and he'll be with us through the end. With the support from our crew and Max's skillful foresight, I realized we had everything we needed. Or do we? The sun is starting to set on our first day at sea, which means it's time to put on our snowsuits and prepare for our night watches. What, you seriously thought Max would just drop anchor and call it a night? Jumping into a night watch with little sailing experience on a boat you're unfamiliar with in a place you've never been is kind of asking a lot. Max, Nick, and Rob have the most practice with these types of deliveries. Max seems to be trusting, but I, of course, can't sleep. The boat now feels like our baby. I'm starting to feel myself go into mama bear protection mode. I will not let anything happen to our boaty babe, not on my watch. We all downloaded Navionics and I even got to color code the watch schedule, which made me feel a little better. Art therapy for the win. 2 hours on and 4 hours off with 3 teams and 1 floater. Rob volunteered to stay at the helm with Jordan and Sarah the first night. I did eventually get some sleep. Unfortunately, the wind died overnight, so we turned on the motor.
Finally get to sleep?
The next morning, as we rounded the top of Michigan, we now had eyes on the Mackinac Bridge.
How was it out there last night? Feel a little chilly?
Sorry, Nick, you're not in Antigua anymore.
Still got our flops on here.
Yep.
We're good. I haven't put my shoes on yet. Strait of Mackinac, Mackinac, whatever they want to call it. It's way more fun to say Mackinac, by the way. We're really far north.
We toasted to our first bridge, which led us into Lake Huron, now starting to head south.
Yeah, baby!
Woo! Max woke up with a vision of visiting the Bayview Yacht Club. He remembered racing there back in the day and recalled the sweet victory of sipping a Hummer after a long day on the water. You may be wondering, Abby, what the heck is a Hummer? I'm so glad you asked. Before we start celebrating too soon, we're going to need to call on the engine angels again. This next day was pretty uneventful as we motored through Lake Huron. We did have a couple visitors, which is always a pleasant surprise. It's funny how these ordinary encounters can quickly become the highlight of the day.
Anybody? No. There's probably a guy up in the bridge. If you look in those windows real hard, yeah, I see him. You trying to give him the honk? Yeah! Fuck yeah! Yeah!
But this is where things start to get weird. The engine is now overheating. Max seems a bit concerned, which is never good. To be totally transparent, I'm realizing now my natural reaction is to put the camera down when shit hits the fan. We have no footage from this stressful situation. Late night snacks kept us awake as we pivot to a nearby dock to assess the engine situation the following morning. Lucky for us, we did have everything we needed on board. Max was able to get to know our engine a little better by taking her apart and replacing the dry rotted impeller. Rob claims it had nothing to do with our engine failure, but he conveniently decided to jump ship at this part in our journey. Don't worry, he'll be popping back up. At this point, we could all use a little reprieve more than we initially thought. Our sights are still set on the Bayview Yacht Club. It's true what they say about team bonding after overcoming an obstacle. We decided to lean into the summer camp camaraderie and all change into the coordinating tie-dye t-shirts Rob had generously gifted us. As we headed more south through the St. Clair River, the weather started to warm up, and so did our spirits. But wait, we're not members at this yacht club, or any yacht club for that matter. The YCA is more our vibe. Max phoned a friend from his vast network of sailing connections. Shout out to the Guardians of the Monohull for hooking us up. Without any adult supervision, we got a little tipsy.
Ragrats?
No regrets. Bayview Yacht Club, Hummers.
Sailing helps put life into perspective. It certainly feels like we've accomplished something. Seriously though, who left us in charge? Pulling into port was a piece of cake, but now we have to get out of here.
Hummers.
Cheers.
My buzz started to fade as I thought about the harsh reality of all the things that could go wrong. That reminds me, we've been motoring for quite some time now. How are we doing on fuel?
Max, what's going on?
We're trying to fill up. We're breathing diesel fumes. We just stopped at the Bayview Yacht Club. Had about 5 Hummers.
Maybe one too many.
Never too many Hummers. If you ever go to the Bayview Yacht Club, if you want a Hummer,
Stay tuned as we continue to forge on. In our next episode, we'll be traversing the Detroit River and sailing into Lake Erie, where we learn the true meaning of its name. Our next destination and set of problems are waiting for us at Port Colborne, the entrance to the Welland Canal.
2 A-frames for our mast taking down adventure.
Subscribe if you want to vibe.